Sheldon, what's the challenge tonight?
Good team, good in all facets. 5-on-5 power play, penalty kill. Lots of pressure on the puck. It's going to be a much different type of game and style of play than we've seen here from any of our opponents here in the last while. So, big test for us for sure.
You mentioned last night that you weren't happy with mistakes made at the wrong moment. I mean, mistakes are always going to happen, but when they lead to goals, it amplifies it, you said. What do you do? What does the coaching staff do with players that make mistakes that probably don't normally make mistakes? How do you keep them accountable?
Well, there's a couple different things, right? There's mistakes are inevitable. This is our sport and our league is a game of mistakes. If players don't make mistakes, there would be no goals scored. I don't care how good the players are. There'd be no goals if there weren't mistakes. Sometimes the other team forces you into mistakes, and sometimes and you lose an edge and you fall down, like what's happened on our first goal the other night. And sometimes you make mistakes where they're mental mistakes, or you're just making life easier on your opponent. I thought we had too many of those last night, where we had type moments, but we also had some where I thought, and you can outscore those, or you can deal with some of those when we're scoring at the rate that we are. But the other ones we have to do a better job of. So that's really the focus, and there needs to be some accountability toward it all. David Camp's going to be a scratch here tonight. In my opinion, just didn't do a good enough job in some of those moments I'm talking about, as a guy that we really rely on in those positions, especially when we're playing with leads. He's a very important player for us, and he will be a lot better for us, and has been good here in the last little while. But there's been too many of those types of things where a guy like him that we've come to really trust and rely upon needs to be able to come through and lead the way for us in that department.
Do the players hold each other accountable? We don't see that obviously in the room, but do they do that?
Yeah, they do. Our players talk a lot. We've grown a lot in that area. Obviously, we've got a lot of new players on the team this year that I think are more comfortable now, and the group itself is more cohesive in that area and comfortable with one another. But certainly within our leadership group, we've grown a lot in that area over the years. Holmberg will go in tonight, yeah.
It's unlike you to punish players, if I could use that word, for mistakes. What's different about this instance?
It's not specific to camp. It's just you go through it and you try to be patient and you try to trust your guys and give them opportunities to go back out and do right. But the tolerance for the same types of mistakes that are happening when we're in positions here of late is going to be a lot less. It needs to be a lot less if we don't see improvement. That's the reality of it. And the other side of it is, when you look at Kampf, is we've got a young guy at Holmberg that has played well for us and hasn't played for a while. So he'll get an opportunity tonight.
You know the type of player Michael Bunting is. I'm curious from your perspective, what it would be like to go on against players.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a guy who plays with lots of energy and all that. It'll be different. Haven't seen a lot of them, playing in Carolina here this season. But, we do know what to expect. But I think he fits in very well with how they want to play as a team. They're in your face, and they're competitive, and they're around the net and create chaos all over. And to that end, I think, he fits in well, and it's four lines of that from what you get from this team. That was one of them, yeah. That and the line change, and yeah.
Any changes on the back end? Last night.
We think he's going to be okay. We're going to have an extra warm up just in case, but he seemed pretty confident this morning that he would be all right.
Sheldon, well, recognizing mistakes do happen, and some players make more than whatever you want to put it. But does the benching of Camp, is that a message to the group, or how would you term that? Or?
I mean, it's just. I guess you could call it a message to the group in the sense that, like I said, there's going to be less tolerance for that. We've got to get better in this area. That's it. And in particular, members of our leadership group, like David is, we trust these guys to lead the way for us. And the expectations are higher. Camp specifically to me, he's got to be a leader on that line. He's got to be a leader in those types of situations where we're in control of the game and such. And then you know, it's obviously not just him. It's the guys that we really rely on to be good in those areas. You know, whether you're their top guys that produce a lot of offense, we need those guys to be good in these areas as well, of course. But for someone like Camper in particular, that's his job. That is his primary job and focus when he's on the ice, and when he strays from that, he opens up the opportunity for others to take his minutes.
In that sense, it's good that you have competition for jobs, that you have your choices, that you can do those things.
Yeah, I mean, yes, for sure. And it's, you know, it's part of the having a little more roster flexibility right now with their injuries and such, and the cap and all these kind of things. You can make these sort of decisions, but it's also because we've got a young player in Holmberg that we believe in, and we've got some others down with the Marlies too that we think are pushing for their opportunities. So, you know, these are just little details. I think we need to be better, and I think we played a good hockey game last night, but there's just mistakes, you know, such as what we've just described here, where we've got to manage that better. And tonight's going to be an entirely different hockey game, entirely different challenge, and we'll turn the page on last night. But I do think we need to grow as a team within this.